Welcome to this special hometown edition of History According to Courtney! Since I'm back home with this spectacular view as my backdrop, and also because I couldn't think of anything else interesting to talk about, I thought I would take you on a historical tour of my Northern Virginia homeland, Loudoun County. Yes, it's shaped like a rack. Loudoun County began as a piece of the Northern Neck of Virginia Proprietary, later called the Fairfax Proprietary, given to 7 noblemen by King Charles II in 1649. The Proprietary contained 5 million acres of land between the Potomac and the Rappahannock rivers. Between 1653 and 1730, Prince William, Westmoreland, and Stafford counties were created out of this land. In 1742, the rest of the land was named Fairfax County. Then in 1757, the Virginia House of Burgesses decided to divide Fairfax County into 2 parts. The eastern part of the county remained Fairfax. The western half of the county was named Loudoun after a guy named John Campbell, who was the 4th Earl of Loudoun and also the Governor General of Virginia from 1756 to 1759. He was really unpopular, so I'm not really entirely sure how honored we should be about that. The town of Leesburg has served as the county seat of Loudoun County since its beginning in 1757. People started settling Loudoun around 1725, coming from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Maryland. Some people from the eastern part of Virginia came to southern Loudoun to start tobacco plantations. And in western Loudoun, a lot of Quakers, Irish, and Scots-Irish came and settled. From 1745 to 1760, Germans from Pennsylvania and Maryland began to settle a town called Lovettsville, originally called Newtown, and also known as the German Settlement. Original. Lovettsville is the northernmost incorporated town in Virginia and is also my hometown. In 1774, a group of Loudoun freeholders wrote up the Loudoun Resolves, which had something to do with rights and liberties in North America, and they also wrote up a formal protest of the Stamp Act, which, if you remember your history, put a tax on paper. Then a bunch of guys from Loudoun fought in the Revolutionary War. During the War of 1812, a town just outside of Leesburg became the temporary capital of the United States while the British burned up D.C. The Constitution and some other important documents were stored in Loudoun until it was safe to go back to D.C., and President James Madison made Belmont his temporary headquarters. What? Loudoun County is actually kind of important. Who knew? When it came time for all of that secession stuff in 1861, Loudoun County was strongly divided. The Quakers and the German farmers up in the northern part of the county didn't believe in slavery because, well, they were Quakers and Germans, so... But the southern part of the county was mostly made up of landed gentry with giant plantations and all of that, so apparently they won out because, as you probably know, Virginia did secede from the United States in 1861. And now, the Civil War. Loudoun was actually pretty important during the Civil War, even though you probably don't hear much about it in school. The Battle of Ball's Bluff, which was pretty important, was fought just outside of Leesburg. Colonel John Mosby and his Rangers, who were famous for carrying out impossibly fast raids on the Union Army and then disappearing into the civilian population, were active in Loudoun County, and to this day the area is known by some people as the Mosby Heritage Area. Robert E. Lee and his troops marched through Loudoun County and stopped to make plans in Leesburg. And there is a very good chance that Civil War soldiers marched through right here in my backyard. But probably the coolest little bit of loco trivia history comes from my very own hometown and the German settlement, Lovettsville. Lovettsville, made up of Quakers and German farmers if you remember, supplied the only Union troops in the entire state of Virginia. Cool, yeah? After the war, Loudoun stayed pretty much entirely farmery for about 200 years until Dulles International Airport was built in the eastern part of the county. That, along with a bunch of people suddenly wanting to live in Washington, D.C., led to a huge population boom in Loudoun County. Over the last 30 years, the population of Loudoun County has quadrupled. It's also now, for the 2nd year in a row, the richest county in the United States. So, yep, Loudoun County. There it is. I'll be honest, it's not the most exciting place to be, but you gotta admit it has a really interesting history. So what's interesting about your hometowns? I know mine's not the only interesting ones. I'd love to hear all about where you're from down in the comments. It's hot out here. I definitely was gonna say something and I don't remember what it was. This is the chair I've been sitting in. It's too hot to be outside anymore, so bye.